Hello guys, once again and back to my channel. My name is Minh and better known as Wonderful Time here. Once again we are here playing some rapid games in order to show you some ideas in chess, help you guys getting better, and obviously showing my ideas and showing that how I am designing the move. Feel free to ask questions if you want to. Hopefully you can understand my analysis and my explanation, and let's start the game right away. So let's go. So here we get a guy here with the name One Step Down from US. Let's go. He plays c4. Yes, I mean, I wish that Nepomniachtchi and Magnus can try this one in just a game. I wish. c4 is just nice. I want to see this one for sure. And for me, I will play safest option. Knight f6. I will play the safest option. There are plenty of things here you can do for sure. I mean, you know, alongside with Slav here, for instance, like Slav here, right? c6 here, or the mid-list variation, or the symmetrical as well. There are plenty of things I can do. But in this game, I will simply show you like the, I think, simplest option, Knight f6, which most of the time will come back to the Nimzo Indian, like here or here. So now guys, what do you want to see? Some Benoni variation, the main Nimzo Indian, or maybe some kind of King's Indian or Runfell? So what do you want to see? There are plenty of things actually. There are plenty of things I can try to play, obviously. And you know, it's hard to please everybody for sure. I want to play something that, I mean, most people want to see. That's it. And obviously, I cannot play Caro-Kann anymore. Yes, I mean, for some reason, you guys are talking about some different stuff, which is funny. Okay, I will try something that maybe I want to have fun his game. g6. Okay, Runfell. Honestly speaking, I have never placed one in my entire chess career. But this line is going to be pretty fun and allow black to fight for a center nicely. In the game, so e3 is played by white, which actually is a very safe approach. A very safe approach. g7. Why I want to defend a pawn here on d4? Or maybe he just doesn't know theory. Who knows, right? Who knows it? Who knows? Knight f3, c3, whatever. White can try to develop normally, and for black, for the ideas of big Runfell, you want to play d5 and c5, and to attack your opponent's center, which is the main idea of the Runfell. And guys, another lesson that I want to give you some advices is that you don't really want to play g3 and e3 at the same time. I mean, unless you plan to play the hippo variation, g3 and e3 shouldn't be played along together, since, I mean, this kind of thing will weaken some light square later, right? Later, some light square may be weakened around your king, and for me, that is considered to not a really good thing for your king side. So d5, time for the Runfell's ideas. So now we are going to play d5 right away. Not this move, but now d5. Since we want to put pressure on his center. And yes, normally it is. I do not recommend like you play both g6 and e6. That is playable, but you know, to some extent, that may weaken your king side a bit. c5. This is not to be wrong. This is not to be a wrong thing for sure. And guys, a small question here. How can we try to attack his pawn chain. How can we start, looking for the activities since he is not fully developed? A thing in general is that when you seeing c5 here, b6 is something you should always consider. Now before here is not really good since we can play a5 right away, right? And he is not prepared for the open of the queen side. Also now we can even think about this one as well, you see? And that's why I mentioned that you don't want to play g3 and a3 at the same time. That's it. Okay, next one. Now, how can you recapture on b6? How can you recapture on b6? A very good lessons I want to tell you is that normally you want to take the pawn towards the center. So that's a lesson I also want to tell you too. So normally here, just play a b6. That's it. Right? That's it. And now not only we open up the a5 for rook here as well, we may be ready for some strong attack here in the center too, which is good for us. Right? Okay, knight c3, which is a good developing move, I would say. Bishop a6. You see? I mean, this is the first move you can try to think of, especially when your opponent just plays this kind of thing, which slightly weaken his pieces. Knight e2, a good move. He won the castles, so this obviously is a nice thing to do. And now I play e6, which seems to violate with what I just said earlier. But now this is fine since this bishop here is really bad. Also, I want to support c5. I want to fight for the center, right? But c5, he can seem to take it, and the pawn is weak. That's why I play e6. Defend the pawn, and now c5 can be playable. You understand me? I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I don't recommend this one in the opening. But now, after we have finished our development, play this move here, defend the pawn on d5. You see, right? Now the pawn here is defended well, and we have a strong center. As well as I tip pieces. You understand? Bishop d2, knight c6. Just time to develop. Feel free to ask questions if you want to, or you can try and wait after the game finish, where I will try to explain something after that. a3. Okay guys, I will say now that we have finished our development, and now time for us to find a plan to do. Normally, to find a plan, you need to look at your pieces which is not developed, or your opponent pieces which is currently being weak right now. As you can see here, the pawn on b2 seems weakened, right? That's why this move seems to be very natural. Rook a b8. Taking the pawn right away, which obviously seems like a nice idea. We can try to support it with a queen here, probably, or this one later. But he just sacrificed a pawn here. I don't know, take here. And not before, right? I think he looked at this rook on a1 and he think that he can have the attack on this bishop. But I can take back here with the knight, which defend the bishop at the same time. That's it. So he mishandled the position. Yes, I tell you, right? He mishandled the position, and now we are up material again. That's it. We are up an exchange and a pawn here, which is very enough to win. The thing is that not only we're up material, but also our pieces are very active. You can look at white pieces here, right? They look so bad. And obviously, I have own kind of threats on the earth. I can also play the queen here, get out of my queen pieces here as well, which looks Very winning, right? Very winning. Okay, so now time to convert. There are plenty of ways to play here, but I think I will play the safest and the easiest. Obviously, we haven't fully developed, right? The rook is still here, do nothing. So before we trying to go for our final attack, I think bring rook out is a good idea. But the queen need to go away first, right? I will go queen d7. Queen b6 may be attacked by rook b1 here, which is not what I want to see. So queen here and then rook c8, and then one pieces get out, and we just enjoy a good edges. Not only in the positions, but also we up material as well. Queen a5 rook c8. Yes, that's what I mentioned earlier. You understand me? I mean, I don't know if I'm talking so fast or not, but I really hope you can understand my words and you can, at least to some extent, feel that is something you can learn from. Knight ce2. For me, this move is very passive, but I mean, it's hard to recommend something good for him since his pieces is already very passive. Knight e4. I mean, we trying to get the center here with the knight, open up the bishop, and we may even trade pieces as well, right? Which looks pretty easy to win. Once again, in a position when we up material, it's not easy, since we can try to win by plenty of ways. But for me, attack pieces is the best and the easiest approach. Knight 4. Looks like a fine move, guys, but this move has a big flaw here. Now, black to play and win material. Black to play and win material. You has two different ways to win material here. Can you tell me how can you win material at this moment? There are two different ways here to do that. I will accept both. There are plenty of things here can be played. Actually, I think three things at least, three things here, just so winning. That's why it's just a lot of choice available for you. First of all, e5 is the easiest. With my fork, right? Second, actually at first what I plan to give you is bishop d4, this one, which eliminate the knight, which is holding b3, right? But now I change my mind. Knight d2 is not good, he can play the queen d2 back. But now I change my mind. The queen on a5 here doesn't have a lot of squares available. Rook a8. Well, e5, h3, f5. You can block this attack and still win a knight. And now look at the queen here. He wants to defend the bishop, right? But there's not many squares available. Before and rook cb8. And now look at the queen. She is trapped. She is fully trapped, right? We have covered all the squares that she can run to. And now, that's the end. So now things is simple. I mean, we got a very common theme. I mean, of attacking the piece. Obviously, we want to play here, right? But the queen is defending that. So now trying to get it away is a good idea to do. And now he tried knight b5, defend the queen. But a funny thing is that the queen is still trapped. I mean, he trying to use the knight to save the queen, save the majesty, but sadly it's no help. The queen is still trapped. And now winning everything in the position, and that's gonna be it, right? And no worries, I mean, time is not a big deal for me. I just want to talk slowly to make you guys understand about the positions. And just a quiz gone. Yes. Now basically everything is gone. Okay, the knight is trapped, right? But okay, I don't want to care about the knight now. Let's go for the final attack. When you are, down in time, but up in material, now I will appreciate on kind of fast attack, instead of just go for the material, now time to go for the attack. Since you don't have much time left, if you're playing something slow, it may be risky for you, since you may run into some kind of trap later in the game. And now, this is the finish. No worries. And guys, now you see, right? He wants to defend it, I understand. But the bishop is pinned, right? So we can simply boom. And now it is complete GG. Now you know there are 1,000 ways to win. I would say 1,000 ways to win here, I'm pretty sure. I think there are even more than 1,000 ways to win, right? Just go for the thing you want to do. That's it. But okay, I will try and go for the frogs made in 3 variation. Frogs made in 3, which simply can't be defended. I can try and remove it. So here, the king is weak for sure. You can take the bishop, whatever. But I will go for the frogs in variation. The idea of rook e4, is trying to stop the king from running here. You see? And now rook e3 is just inevitable. No worries. It is made in 1 right now. I simply block his king from running. Obviously, other moves also win for sure, right? But I think this is just like faster and better way to finish the opponent. I would say it. GG's. Okay, so the game is that. Hopefully you enjoy it, and the mate here looks fun, right? Obviously I can also play this one as well, but whatever it is, there's plenty of ways to meet him. Okay, time for the explanation. So guys, start your questions here and we're going to discuss together. First of all, in this game, so what I plan to do is to plan for the Grunfeld positions. Obviously, after c4, normally, d4 is obviously playable, which will transpose to the main line, but white can also play something like g3 on c3 as well, which is the main line of the initial variation, and that is playable too. But I always suggest this one here against c4. I think that's really fine. And then you can play like here and here later. If you want to play the Queen's Gambit decline, or you can play this one as well if you want to play something like KAD or Grunfeld variation. Like knight f6. Still, like higher cards. You do not want to reveal what you want to do next. So I think this move seems to be decent. Yes, although I'm playing Grunfeld here, I also do not recommend you guys learn that. That line is huge, and also that is complicated. Sometimes it recommends you, it forces you to play some very accurate move, and that is by no means easy. It's by no means easy. But obviously a good thing about early level is that you don't know the variation, but your opponent is not likely to know that as well. You may play some bad thing, but your opponent will too, basically. d4, g6. Obviously, the main idea about Grunfeld is c3, d5, right? This one here, and then there are plenty of things like here, and here, whatever. Obviously, e4 is so huge, right? So huge. So I would say that in general, Grunfeld is a fun variation, but very complicated, and there are plenty of theories need to be learned. That's it. In a game, he played e3, which is a safe approach. This line, I'm pretty sure he doesn't know the variation, but recently, there are some strong players who play this kind of thing. The idea here is like here, and then here, and here, this kind of thing, like d5 and b4, this one. When white want to expand on the queen side right away, Recently, I see some games in high level where white applied this with decent result. For black, he will like normally like here or here or whatever, but this slice is very fun too. Nimzo Indian is obviously fine. I just don't play this in this game. I mean, for me, I play Nimzo Indian, but it depends. Like this is safer approach, but G6 is more fun and also more complex. If you love some complicated positions, Runefell and KID belongs to you. That is what I want to mention. In the game E3, here G3, that is not that bad. Later you will realize that there are some variation with this thing. But overall, for me this looks a bit weakening. So I do not recommend you to do that in the early opening. Obviously, if you are not playing the hippo variation. That's it. In the game, so castles, to d5 here, c5. This c5 move is not a good move to do as well, if you're not prepared. You only want to play c5 to expand if you are prepared well enough. Since black can always have some pressure in the queen side if you're not ready. You know, in some variation, c5 is playable. With idea like this, c5 here, a5, and a3 is one, right? But suddenly now the rook here is hanging, and you cannot do that. But there's some variation where white like develop early in the queen side. He can do this variation for sure. But now c5 is not good, since white is not ready for expansion. b6, takes, right? c3 and this one. You can see that black start to have some activities, and his pieces looks more, I mean, what I can say, efficient, right? Like it looks like doing more things to the game. He will get the center really soon, and look at the white pieces. They all look very passive, right? Very passive. And obviously, it's not easy for him to find a good plan to play. e6 here. For me, this is an important move. This move is important. Why? You must understand that I want to play c5, right? I want to play c5 here to get a center. When you're playing Runefell, in general, or you want to play something else, but, I mean, you finish the piece development, you finish castling, you need to think about the way to make a pawn breakthrough, or at least you try and push to get a center. So c5 here is our plan, right? But c5 can take here, and then the pawn on d5 is weakened, you see? And that is pretty unfortunate. That's why I spent a tempo to play e6, which is a safer approach, right? And c5 is my plan next. Now this pawn has been covered, and I can simply ready to strike in the center. You understand me? I mean, I'm trying to explain things very slowly, and I really hope it. You guys can learn something from it. I'm trying to speak very slowly. In the game, castles, c5. You see, right? White pieces looks very cramped, and it's not easy to find a good plan for him right now, which we can see in the game. You see? Should e2? I mean, takes first. Takes. This one is not good for him, since it also opened up to b5 for us, and gives us even more plans to play with. Should d2 here, develop the knight. You see, right? Not only we're having the piece activities, but we're also having the space initiative too. In this position, at some point you will see some plans like knight e5 to d3. For instance, you see, right? What an active knight, and you know it is doing plenty of things here. You can spot it with, like, you know, here or here or here, whatever, and basically it is really good. And well, like, you know, 6 is needed since this pawn is weak after here, right? And now you get 1, 2, 3. but you only got 2. You can try to place 1 as well, but you know, I'm trying to make it a speedrun. I'm trying to explain the things that I feel is easiest to play. That's why I don't want you to play something this, complex in the opening. I think this is simpler to play for sure. So in a game, castle c5, takes, d2 here, a3. I think you want to play b4, but sadly he is not ready for that. His pieces are very cramped and he needs to be well prepared for the break. Sadly, he's not in the game, so to be it. You see, right? Attack his weaknesses is almost a good idea. For instance, right, queen c2 play queen b6, and obviously you can see that his b2 pawn is under huge pressure, right? Huge pressure, like here, probably here, whatever, and we try and put pressure here, which looks very good for us. You understand me? In the game, he play b4. He go for breakthrough that he planned a move ago, but as I mentioned earlier, he is not well prepared for that. Takes, and a b4. Not only we get a free pawn, but also we defend the bishop as well, which he may have missed. But this position is already hard for him. I got very strong pieces. I got strong bishop as well here. I can go like here and then here, whatever. And he is just kind of like, have no plan at all. And obviously with very bad pieces coordination. You understand me? In the game, so a6 here, obviously it's mistakes. Takes. And now basically I just converting well. First, I bring my rook to c8, getting the open file, right? The rook always belong to the semi-open files and the open files for sure. So at first, I plan to get my rook out and do things later, and he is just still very uncoordinated in the game. So queen a5, rook c8, right? Defend the knight and cut the rook out. Knight c2. I understand he want to activate his pieces. He want to maneuver it somewhat better, but sadly, the position doesn't allow him to do so. His position is just so cramped and passive, and that's when it's not easy for him to get his pieces out. In the game, knight e4, activate a knight, right? Attacking the bishop, and obviously, open up everything like this. And knight 4. So as I mentioned earlier, now everything wins. e5 for sure win the game, since one can be simply met by f5, right? And now look at this. They're still under pressure for sure. Second, bishop e4 is also a really good move. That's what I planned earlier, like here and here, right? Which obviously win another piece. But I just want to play rook a8. I think this is better, since the queen is in huge trouble, and now it's not easy for him to play the move here, right? It's gonna be bad for you. And here, somehow now my engine is suggesting f3. Thing is not good when the engine suggests you to sacrifice a whole queen. That's when that thing simply has to go out of your hand. But what can he do? The queen is already trapped here. He played on b5 with the idea to run here, but sadly the square also is covered by the bishop, right? So it takes, and now it's still trapped. And obviously the final part of the game is just easy convert, and we try and mate him, and basically nothing you can do against that, right? And obviously a beautiful mate where every pieces of us just participate in, right? So that's a game. So any questions, guys? Any question for the game, or do you feel my explanation good enough? I really hope you can understand my explanation. I can really hope that you can feel it, like basically instructive enough. No way can you get me to do that. I mean, I will play one more tomorrow. But now, if I do one more, my mother will get in and simply spank me in my face. So basically, that is something I can't do. Tomorrow, I will stream again, talk about the WCC games, and obviously one more for sure. Okay, so there is no question I will say. Hopefully you understand everything, and I will upload the game on YouTube later. Feel free to watch it again, and thank you for watching.